It's like riding a bike. Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Fort Wayne Up Close. Today is my pleasure to bring on another fabulous gem from the 6th District, Mr. Trai Essex. And again, I don't have to explain to you guys because you all are loyal followers. You understand about Fort Wayne Up Close and ONV and the 6th District Coalition and what it is that we try to do. We want to highlight the excellence that comes out of the 6th District. We want to build up the 6th District and bring it back to prominence where it once was. So following up Jalen Smith, a fine product out of the southeast side of Fort Wayne, again, Mr. Trai Essex. And it's been a long time coming, young man.
It has, man. Thank you, JJ, for having me on. I know I was supposed to be here sooner, but I'm glad I'm here now. So
I was going to say, hey, better late than never.
Right.
You know, always on time. That's all right. Mm-hmm. And look, I'm checking him off the list, and, you know, we're going to have our call-outs at the end. See, now Trai gets to take his name off the list.
I get to take my name off the list finally.
Now, Trai, you know, we're going to get into it. I like walking people through their timeline. Mm-hmm. You know, it all started for you. You know, we take it back to high school, Paul Harding High School. I want you to talk to the people, tell them, because you know, your high school is no longer your high school.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was special times there, and you were a two-sport superstar. So talk to people. Tell them about them days.
You know, I've had a lot of success in my life, and I owe it all. Well, it started before Harding, but Harding was monumental in my life because of multiple reasons. A big overriding factor in my life is my dad, but I had so many black men that I could look up to as mentors. You, JJ, being one of them, Coach Stevens, Coach Gooden, Neil Brown, CC Fullove, and to have that kind of representation in Harding, it made my life a little easier because I had some consistency and persistency from guys that had an impact on my life. So all I had to do was come up and show up and play ball, you know. And I was fortunate enough to be a part of some very good teams at Harding. Some basketball teams. We made it to the state championship, obviously my senior year, and then some football teams that made it pretty far in the playoffs as well. And so it was just a testament to Harding. It's sad to see in my instance, I know Harding is doing some good things as far as being a place where you can get your education, you can get an associate's degree, but it's not the Harding that I grew up with, you know. And that part is a little sad because they don't have the sports and whatnot. But I know they're trying to do some great things for the youth over there, so I do recognize the good that they're doing. But Harding is a special place in my heart. It was the only school on that side of town. I consider all the best athletes in the city went to Harding. Southside and Wayne might have something to say about that. But my time at Harding was pivotal into becoming the type of man that I am today.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Now, it's funny, you said those other schools may have something to say about it, but how many of Harding's athletes was at those other schools?
Right.
About that.
Exactly. They were going out of district to go to Southside and Wayne. Everybody who was supposed to go to Harding went to Harding.
Yeah.
We would have been unstoppable.
Yeah. But you touched on it. You guys, man, your football teams were loaded. You know, you guys had some a whole lot of talent. And then basketball, you actually won a state championship.
Right.
And I think that was the first state championship from Fort Wayne since Northrop. I think it was in 73, 74. Because I know
Walter Jordan.
Yeah, there you go. Because when we were going, we lost a semi-state the year before. And everybody, you know, just knew we were going to do it. But, you know, we got it done that following year.
That was a special run. The way that the city culminated around us, it was really cool to see that not just the south side of Harding, but the entire city got behind the South Side team, the Harding team, as we made our journey to state and brought the championship home. So I'll never forget. People ask me, what was the most amazing sports moment? And they expect me to say the Super Bowl. Relatively speaking, there was no bigger moment in my life than going to the state championship from Fort Wayne, Indiana, for the first time in 30-something years and being able to bring that home.
All right, powerful. And look, you took away one of my questions. I was going to say, man, you done won not just a Super Bowl, you done won 2 Super Bowls. And I was going to ask you, you know, what was your biggest moment? The state championship or the Super Bowl? So you don't answer that. And again, though, we're going to rewind because we're going in our timeline.
Right.
So you stand out, you know, big time football player and basketball player, but you chose to play football. Where'd you go? Where did you go to college at?
I went to Northwestern, and I don't know if it was so much of a choice, JJ, as it was just nature, because I started growing this way instead of this way. And, to play at a high level Division I, you got to be a certain height. And I was a small forward, power forward playing at 6'5". So the writing was on the wall. I was built to be a football player. And so when the time came to pick a school, I chose Northwestern over Notre Dame and the University of Miami, which I caught flack for. But I don't regret that decision one bit because Northwestern at the time was a school that was on the rise, and I wanted to be a part of something that was moving up as opposed to going to a factory that was already established. I wanted to be part of a foundation that was going upward, and I think we were able to accomplish that at Northwestern. And it also was convenient. Like, my parents were able to come up and drive only 3 hours to come see me play. And if I had went to Miami, that would have been a little bit more costly, And so those are the big reasons why I chose Northwestern.
Gotcha. That's good. Look, check out something else, because I was going to ask, why Northwestern? Again, powerhouse in Notre Dame, powerhouse in Miami, not to mention the sun and the fun. Now, there's a rumor out there. I had a family member say, you came back and said, hey, I'm going to Miami. And they was like, well, what'd you like about it? Hey, they had girls. You said everything but football, everything but academics. And I think they said, mom and dad said, burp, no, you're not going to Miami.
So, my parents. My parents don't play. And they were strict. I was a 17-year-old wet behind the ears going on my first official visit down to Miami, which I had never been to before, and they wined and dined the mess out of me. And so the coach at the time was Butch Davis, and they had a tight end coach by Rob Chizinski, and I was a tight end back then. I know people see me now, I'm a lineman, but I was a tight end back then. And Coach Chizinski recruited me hard, came up to some basketball games even, and Coach Brown, Dr. Brown, our principal at the time, had a conversation with him that ended up being very pivotal in why I chose Northwestern over Miami. Basically telling me that, here are all the cards. This is what Miami offers. This is what Northwestern offered. And that's another example of how the men at Harding High School stepped up a big way in my life and helped out because he helped guide me to a right decision, I think. And so... But like you said, Miami, it was fun. I had too much fun, actually, and I think that actually worked against them as far as me choosing them because I realized I wasn't going to be able to do the things, accomplish things I wanted to with all that fun around me. I wasn't mature enough yet. So.
Yeah, it take a heck of a lot of discipline, no question. Take a heck of a lot of discipline. But you alluded to something. You used to play tight end, and when you're in the high school, you were All-American at tight end. That, like you said, that's what people recruited you as. Talk to the folks about what went into the decision to switch from tight end to a lineman.
Well, another one of those things that kind of happened au naturel. I got to Northwestern, and we didn't have the most robust weightlifting program at Harding. And just in general, weightlifting wasn't huge. Yeah. And at the early 2000s, not as big as it is now for kids coming out of high school. And so when I got to Northwestern, I put on a quick 30 pounds from the lifting and all the free food they had. And so that I was 280 going into my spring season at Northwestern, and our left tackle went down. And I found out later on, Coach Walker, God rest his soul, always had a plan for me to move to tackle. They told me everything I wanted to hear when they were recruiting me in high school, telling me we're going to play tight end, we're going to throw the ball tight end, you're going to get 50 balls a game or whatever. Tell me what I wanted to hear. Play tight end my freshman year. But when I put on that extra weight, they moved me right on inside the left tackle and was like, this is where you're going to make your money at. And it was fortuitous because that was the right move for me.
Yeah. So in other words, though, it sounded like it was a setup, man. So you talk about the free food. It might not have been free for everybody else. They're like, hey, y'all make sure Trey got this.
Hansel and Gretel'd me, man.
And that's it. Hey, so then it's like, hey, Trey, dog. So, but it'd be right.
It was a mutual benefit for both of us.
Yeah. So, and you talked about a program on the rise because, again, outside of Northwestern being in the Big Ten, Northwestern being a heck of an academic school, who goes to Northwestern to play football? But while you were there, talk about some of the success. Did you guys go to bowl games? What? Tell the people.
Yeah, so my freshman year, I played as a true freshman. We were ranked number 6 in the country, coming off a year where we were 8-4 and had tied Purdue. It was a 3-way tie for the Big Ten championship. So they were on the rise. And our freshman year, we were highly touted. We were running that offense where the spread offense was just getting huge, where teams were spreading out the ball, having 4 and 5 wide receivers on the field just to run the ball, to get the defense spread out a little bit. And we kind of revolutionized that. And so my freshman year, we came in with all the hype and did not live up to it one bit. We had 2 NFL players, Napoleon Harris and Kevin Bentley, who were on the defensive side of the ball. We had Zach Kustak at quarterback. And Damian Anderson was our running back, who was coming off a Heisman year where he had 2,000 plus yards. He was like second in voting behind with Damian Tomlinson. And so freshman year wasn't good. Sophomore year was a lot worse. And then junior year, things started to work in our favor. I was finally comfortable at the left tackle position. We had an offense that was hitting all centers, and we went to a bowl game and played Bowling Green in Detroit my junior year. Probably had one of my better games ever. I got honored, but we lost that game too. And that was the only bowl game we had. We went 6-7 that year, and we went 6-6 the next year.
Okay. But again, that's good. That's progress. And again, it's funny, man, sitting here, talking to Jalen yesterday, and like we talked about, good head on his shoulders. Sit here, talk to you, good head on your shoulders. And to know the choice wasn't just all about football.
Right.
It was all about the academics.
Yeah, it was definitely student first, athlete second. Some coaches do it backwards and when they're in the meeting, but I was definitely a student athlete, and big reason my parents always emphasized it.
Yeah, no question. And then so successful career at Northwestern, you done made the switch, you're offensive lineman, and after your senior year, the NFL draft rolls around. Talk to me.
I honestly, at coming up in high school, I thought I was going to be in the NBA. Once I realized I wasn't going to grow enough, I thought I was just going to play college football. I didn't really know I had NFL talent until at the end of my sophomore year when Roosevelt Barnes, another Fort Wayne legend, came in and told me, like, Trai, get your stuff together because you have a legit shot at making it to the next level. And so I thought about leaving actually after my junior year because there was a kid by the name of Kelly Butler who was at Purdue who left early, who I knew I was better than. And so I was like, if he can get drafted, I can too. But I ended up waiting and playing my senior year. And I had a really good senior year and had my best game against our biggest competition in Ohio State, who had multiple draft picks on that side of the ball, and played probably my best game ever that game. And so when the draft comes around, it was a tough time because my granddad, the draft was on April 25th, I believe, and my granddad passed away on April 24th, and he was sick. And so it was a tough time for us as a family, but we were able and we were blessed that the next day we were able to celebrate me getting drafted by my hometown favorite team, Pittsburgh Steelers, in the 3rd round, 93rd pick overall. I waited all day. That's when the draft was first 4 rounds were day 1, and then the second. So I was sitting there from 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock in the evening watching everybody who I thought I was better than get drafted ahead of me. And then I finally got that call. Caller ID was new back then. I'm that old, where 412 came across. I didn't know where that area code was. Picked it up, and I got a voice that I've heard on the TV a couple of times because of my Steelers fandom, Coach Cowher. And I tell everybody this. Coach Cowher is known for his chin, right? Yeah. He puts that chin in the air, and then everybody just listens. And so I tell people I heard his chin through the phone when he was talking. And basically he was like, Trai, are you ready to be a Steeler? First time my parents ever heard me cuss. I was like, F yeah. Yeah, this is, and obviously I apologize right afterwards, but greatest moment at that point of my life, seeing all my work come and culminating in that moment right there was a dream come true. And my parents obviously were extremely happy for me. My girlfriend, my now wife, was there with me. So she, Christina, shout out to my beautiful wife. She was there, and it was an awesome day.
All right, cool. And it's funny you brought up Ro, and Ro was always talking even when you was in high school. JJ, tell Trai he needs to get to the other side of the ball. They not paying no tight ends. His ticket, he said, hey, put it down. I don't know if you remember, anytime they come to practice or whatever, he get down in that stance and, say, you would have been,
I do remember that. Yeah.
You know, he get a little demos. He said, JJ, tell him, you know, man, stay in his ear. You know how persistent Roe is. But
Right.
I remember that vividly. He was always saying, man, he need to switch.
It was prophetic. He knows, if anybody knows what they talking about, it's definitely Roosevelt Barnes.
No question. So you drafted, like you said, your favorite team. Man, the Pittsburgh Steelers is a storied franchise.
Right.
You know, as I said the other day, you know, growing up, you know, I'm older than you, obviously, but Cowboys or the Steelers, you know, you was one of them too. And, you know, mix in Denver, a couple of people like Green Bay. But for the most part, it's Dallas and the Steelers. Man, the Steel Curtain, all that. I mean, talk to us about the culture at Pittsburgh, man.
It's like none other. The fandom came from our other Fort Wayne, probably the greatest athlete to ever come through Fort Wayne, whose camp I just came from helping, Hope Through Football, Rod Woodson. And so he's been running that camp ever since I was growing up, obviously. And that's where I developed my love for the Steelers, just through watching him and watching his greatness. And so I had an idea of what Pittsburgh was like. No nonsense, no mess. Straightforward, all football. And that city in Pittsburgh mimics their football team. Very blue collar, very hardworking, nitty gritty, tough people. And so, those are the type of environments that bring the best out of me. Especially being a lineman who loves being in the trenches. That's kind of like our MO. And so Russ Grimm was our O-line coach. And for those who don't know, Russ Grimm was a Hall of Fame offensive lineman in his own right, played for the Washington Redskins during their Super Bowl team. So we already had the experience of a coach who had won Super Bowls playing O-line. And so we had Alan Faneca was our left guard, Marvell Smith was our left tackle, Max Starks right tackle, Kendall Simmons was our right guard, and our center was Jeff Hardings. And so we had 3 Pro Bowlers in the room when I walked in. So talk about feeling intimidated and feeling nervous and knowing that I couldn't spend 1 second not trying my hardest. And so every meeting I'm taking down copious amounts of notes. Every practice I'm paying attention and hanging on every word that Alan Faneca says and that Russ Grimm says. The storied tradition of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everybody knows Terry Bradshaw, John Stallworth, but really they get there. You hear about the Steel Curtain defense, but the O-lineman, you hear about Mike Webster, who was one of the best centers of all time. And I kind of was like the catalyst for the whole concussion thing that came about later on. And so Steelers are known for the O-lineman. So when I walked into that building, I knew what I had to do. I had to come in and give them my all every single time. And if I do that, the great thing about the Steelers and the Rooneys that own them is that they recognize hard work, and the owners come down and talk to you. So you really feel like you're part of a family there. It's not this separation, this hierarchy when you're in there. The Rooneys come in and make sure that you know that they know that you're watching them. And so not only with that pressure that comes with that, but just the responsibility that they, feel that you should have. If we're drafting you to be here, we believe in you. And so that part was awesome. I had 8 great years there. Obviously, I got spoiled after a while because we were going to Super Bowls every other year. But my time in Pittsburgh was amazing.
Okay, look, copious notes. That's a Northwestern education. Copious notes. I hear you over there. Hey, so again, going to Super Bowls, you won 2 of them. I mean, just to make it to the NFL, the percentage is low.
Right.
But to actually win championships, and then you talk about multiple championships, come on, man. That's a double cherry on top of a Sunday.
I was spoiled. We had some great teams, and when I got drafted, Coach Coward was my coach for the first 2 years. And like I said, that loaded offensive line, it was just as loaded on the defensive side of the ball, if not more so. When you talk about guys like Joey Porter, Casey Hampton, James Ferrier, Troy Polamalu, Ike Taylor, the list goes on and on, Aaron Smith. And so we had talent at every single position on every single level of that football team. And we actually, Jerome Bettis, how can I forget the bus? Like blocking for him was a dream come true. And so we actually struggled out the gates my rookie year. We went 7-5 and had to win 5 in a row just to make it to the playoffs. And we were the first 6 seed to make it all the way to Super Bowl and win it. And so that season was a whirlwind because I'm sitting here coming off my college season trying to figure things out, trying to make sure I don't slack off because our left tackle went down and I had to play right away. And I had to step up and keep the level the same. Like, this is a Pro Bowl left tackle. I had to come in and do my thing. And so I don't know if you remember this, but one of my first games ever was Monday Night Football in Indianapolis. And
Yes, sir.
I'm going against this, you might have heard of him, this guy named Dwight Freeney is on the other side of the ball. And I'm terrified of this dude because he has this spin move that is proven to be unblockable.
Yes, sir.
And the RCA Dome, they say they didn't pump music in, but they did. And so I couldn't hear the snap count, and I got to try to get off the ball. And so I jump off sides, one of my first plays in, and John Madden, who's announcing the game at the time, says, once that wiggle starts, don't stop. You know, he just always wiggling at the front. I'm like, dang, that's messed up on Monday Night Football. But yeah, I was part of some great teams, and having to play right away and having that responsibility, I cherish those moments. Yeah.
Yeah. You talked about walking in with the Pro Bowl caliber guys and that experience in the room. You know, I hear you on the one hand, it could be intimidating, but on the other, you have to be like, hey, I'm watching what these cats do. I'm gonna soak up everything like a sponge.
Right.
You know, I mean, what better teacher than to be with guys like that? Like, hey, you hit on it. You got to raise your level of play, but just from the pure, mentality of it.
No, I love to be in those moments. I love to be in those type of situations, and I learned that at an early age. I played as a freshman. We got to Harding, and we had on the football team, we had Jamarcus Gorman and Robert Brown, and this was a state championship caliber team. Alan Ganaway and Sean Casey at running back. And so we had stars that I had to come in and step up right away as a freshman in high school. So that prepared me for when I walked into the Steelers facility to know that if I'm drafted, especially in the third round where I was drafted, at the position I was drafted at, they know that I'm good enough to play this game. I know that I'm good enough to play this game. Now, how good am I going to be? Well, I had the perfect examples right in front of me on how to prepare to be as good as they are. And so, yes, those were lessons that I took from it. I cherish those moments because those are, if you're a true competitor and true athlete, you want to learn from guys that are better than you, that have been there before.
Yeah, true that. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't talk again about who you played for, who you had to protect, because again, a lot of guys make the league and you on some teams. I mean, everybody knows the importance of a quarterback. Everybody knows the importance of having talented teams. And you said it yourself, you've been spoiled. But what was it like, A, playing with Ben Roethlisberger, who's going to be a Hall of Famer, that part, and then B, as you alluded, those fans ain't nothing to play with.
Nope.
And you got to protect him. I mean, you talking, that's pressure in itself.
Right.
Hey, you missing a block, you getting him hit, not just him getting on your butt, but the whole city of Pittsburgh.
Right.
Man, speak to that. What was it like playing with him?
I got to tell you this. I mean, that's the franchise right there, and he will go down, and it's arguable as the best quarterback in Steelers history, in my opinion. People say Bradshaw, but I say Ben. Obviously, I'm a little biased.
I say Joe Gilliam, but go ahead.
Oh, Joe Gilliam, the first one. First black quarterback to start in for the Pittsburgh. Yes, that's a good one too. But blocking for Ben was twofold. It was stressful because that guy used to hold on to the ball, but you understood, and I say this after meeting tons of athletes, I don't know if I know a better winner than Ben Roethlisberger. He may not get 300, 400 yards. He may not have 5 times, but he makes the right plays at the right time, or he manufactures a play at the right time. And sometimes that comes at the expense of having to hold your block maybe 5 or 6 seconds longer than you're used to. And so we did a lot of that. We had to hold our blocks for a long time because we knew 7 back there was going to do something special. And so it was stressful, but we knew what we had to do. And we knew if we did it, we would more than likely win games. And that's exactly what happened.
Okay, awesome. You see how you rolled that back for 2 Super Bowls.
Yep. Should have had a third. Should have had a third. But.
Now, hey, here's the other thing. He wasn't called Big Ben for no reason.
Oh, no.
Like you said, you a lineman, so we know you big. Man, I done hung out with Ben a couple times. I'm looking like this, man. If you didn't know that cat played quarterback, you'd be like, man, get out of here.
Right. He's 6'5", 6'6", and about 240, 250. And I had experience with him before I even got to Pittsburgh because he went to Miami, Ohio. And his senior year, my junior year, this quarterback from Miami, Ohio, Mac school, who was tearing up everybody, was playing their first Big Ten school. And Ben tore us up. That's kind of was his coming out party that year, and how he ended up being the first round quarterback, obviously. But Ben, huge human being. Used to break all the tackles in the world. Used to throw the ball with guys hanging on him. Shoot, we would tackle him sometimes, trying to help keep guys off of him, and he would still hold up and find a way to get the ball to his receiver. So yeah, like, great player, awesome human being. Was a still a really good close friend of mine, and somebody that I talked to.
Cool. Now, when I had Big Flozell on here, same deal. You guys well spoken, and I didn't get a chance to hit Jalen with this, but you guys well spoken. You sit here, got your little glasses on, Northwestern grad, talk about copious. To play football, man, that's a violent sport. You got guys that's huge, super fast, car collisions every single play.
Right.
You got to be a little bit crazy, right?
You do. You got to be a little nut. I'm a different person on the football field.
That's what I wanted to hear. You hit that switch, but go ahead.
Completely different person on the football field, or just in competition, period. I love to compete. And so, as you see me now, I can talk to anybody. I'm a smiler. I hug you up. I'm a nice guy, but on the football field, you don't want to see me. You do not want to be lined up across from me. And I say that to anybody. That's just how I am. And to play that game at that level, you got to have a couple of screws loose.
That's real, but it does. I'm always at all, and like you said, I hug out with you guys, and just to know that, man, no, this dude, okay, nice dude, good head. But it's like, come on now. I done seen him out there on Sundays. Something ain't added up.
Hey, one person you don't want him is Flo. Flo might be one of the meanest dudes on the football field ever. And he used to throw boys around. That's my buddy, man. We had that one year in Pittsburgh. We had a good old time. So.
Okay. Yeah, Flo got that streak even off the field while you playing.
I was trying to be nice.
Yeah,
but
because it's a matter of fact, Lee, let somebody step. He gonna remind you.
Yeah.
But so after you finished playing, you spent some time with the Colts. I think you said that. But after you finished playing, talk to folks about you had some positions within the league, right? Tell them what were you doing in the league, and what was your responsibility?
So I did a few things when I got done playing. I tried to get away from football completely and ran a nurse staffing agency for a year just to get away, just try to use some of that Northwestern education. But then football came calling, and so I did some commentating for about 5 or 6 years before I landed on the road with the Trust. The Trust is a leg of the NFLPA, the National Football Players Association. And the Trust is basically the leg that gives benefits to guys that are retired. And I was the liaison. The one thing about playing in the NFL, the average career is 2 years and 7 games. And in order to get a pension, you need to play 3 years and 3 games. And so you see the business side of things. A lot of the players get cut before they get a chance to be vested. But even when you're vested, the thing that I think a lot of people don't know, when you hardly ever leave the NFL on your own terms. You get those rare guys that retire, like the Tom Brady's, that can walk away when they want to. But more times than not, you're either getting cut or there's an injury that takes you out. And because of that, guys, hence the name of the Trust, the leg of the NFLPA, guys don't trust the NFL. And so because of that, when they leave or when they get cut because of injury or they just get cut because of performance, they don't believe the NFL is going to look after them. And so it was my job to make sure that guys were aware of their benefits. And so I took a lot of pride in that, knowing the collective bargaining agreement front and back, advocating for guys to get more benefits, to make sure that they're taking care of the benefits that we do have, because what owners will do is see if you're not using your benefits, well, shoot, what's this pile of money here for? We're going to take that back. And so when it comes to negotiating a new CBA, which is going to be in 2031, I'm going to be there front and center, making sure guys are using their benefits to the max so that we can ask for more in 2031. And so that was kind of my...
Okay, gotcha. What about, wasn't you a part of the uniform police?
Oh, yeah.
You ain't want to tell that part. You ain't want to tell. Hey, I want to tell them.
They call me the nurse, man.
Yeah, exactly. You going to lead. I like that. Boy, I like that in you.
Yeah. I mean, that was a little side hustle. But, hey, they do have the uniform, the fashion police, and they're a lot less strict than they used to be. When I was doing it, guys had to have their socks up a certain way. You couldn't wear certain brands of headphones if it wasn't a sponsor of the NFL. So guys used to come out and NFL would be Beats. this year, and guys will come out in bows and like, no, take them things off or you're going to get written up. And these fines ain't nothing to play with.
Wow.
You get fined one time, that's 7-8K. And then you get a multiple, and it triples. And so that was my gig for a little bit. Guys did not like me.
But yeah, you said the fines ain't to play. You just said the average lifespan in the NFL is 2.5 years. So yeah, hey, do the math.
Right.
They're taking that money out. And you didn't hit the acronym because guys that play, I'll tell you what NFL stands for, not for long.
Not for long.
So, what kind of advice you have for young people? Again, I like having people sit in that seat. I like bringing you guys on. Fort Wayne, we only so big.
Right.
These kids is following the same steps, walking the same path that you did. What can you tell them, some advice on, that helps you along your journey?
There's one thing at the camp today, I reiterated this message, and it's going to be cliche, and everybody says it. But I think one of the things that we're getting away from, especially in the sports realm, is kids having fun. With all this NIL stuff and these parents who have their motivations may be a little skewed now that they know money is out there. Sometimes to these kids, these sports feel like a job. Oh, you got to go train here 3 times a week. You got to go to this many practices. You got to go to this many tournaments. And guys and kids get burnt out. And so one thing that I never had to worry about was my parents over pushing me because I wanted to do it already. But it wasn't because I was overtraining. I had fun playing the games that I played. And so the kids out there need to have fun doing what they're doing and not have it feel so much like a job or an obligation, So that would be my biggest advice. I said that to the kids at camp today and yesterday. I want to make sure that you emphasize having fun.
Okay. That and then real quick, we didn't talk about multiple sports because you are one of the guys I have in my Rolodex, and as I coach and guys tell me I ain't gonna hoop this year, I gotta concentrate on football.
Right.
And vice versa. Talk to us again. You excelled in 2 different sports. Talk to us about the importance of playing multiple sports.
You gotta play multiple sports. And I say that, and my daughters only play soccer right now, but they're about to start playing track and some other stuff too, because I think it's super important to have a variety of different sports. Not only does it help you become a more well-rounded athlete, but it helps you for the main sport that you want to end up playing in the future. And so I only didn't play basketball and football. I started out playing soccer, and I started out playing baseball, which I think works tremendous basis for me from a footwork standpoint, because my calling card was footwork. And so soccer kind of helped develop that. And then baseball was hand-eye coordination. And so once they started throwing curveballs, I got rid of baseball because that thing was just a little bit too hard to keep up with. But you have to be able to play. The definition of an athlete to me is not how fast you are, not how strong you are, but being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it with your body. Gotcha. Body control is the ultimate test of an athlete to me. And I think you only develop that when you play multiple different sports, not the same one, because you're working different muscles, different body groups, and it makes you a more well-rounded athlete.
There you go. And again, I use you as an example. I use, Big Josh Game. Mm-hmm. I tell people, we used to have football coaches called us from basketball, one tape. I don't even know how somebody from Penn State that called us on Josh Gaines wanted our film. I don't know if Northrop their film was broke or whatever, but called us. They wanted his basketball tape. Same thing for you. They like I've met Tressel and Urban Meyer, big time coaches. Just where they sit and they talk about, we ain't worried about football. We just need an athlete.
Right.
We get them out there. We're going to make them and do what
coach them up, yeah.
But if I see somebody your size out there hook dunking on guys, drop 7, that's what they looking like. Ooh, they get excited about that. And that's what I try to, tell some of these folks that are talking about they just going to focus on one.
I will say this, JJ, I have not come across one teammate in the pros that only play football. They either play baseball, basketball, wrestling. Every single pro that I know played multiple sports. Yeah. So that just tells you the importance of it.
Jason Barnes, that's what he told me, scout for Seattle. Mm-hmm. And he said, Pete Carroll, he said, man, Pete Carroll didn't if you didn't play multiple sports, he wasn't interested. So right. To your point, it was like, no. And we talk, it's proven, the injuries that can occur.
Right.
That's what, we see a lot of stuff. I see more kids getting hurt nowadays because they're specialized and they're working the same muscles over
You
and over.
see, and it's
But,
those fatigue, the Achilles, which is becoming a big one, and that's nothing but just overworking.
There you go. Instead of utilizing different muscles.
Right.
But hey, man, it's truly been a pleasure having you on. I could take him off my list. Jesse is coming down. Hey, Jesse. Look, I'm getting out Diesel. You still look. So we gonna step on the basketball side. Diesel ain't came on yet. Malik. We working on Brooks. I need y'all guys. Trai, man, we love it, man. Hey, it's funny. I call you a young fella, but like we was talking, bro.
I ain't young no more.
You coming on over this side of it, man. But hey, definitely a pleasure. Like I said, another treasure, another gem from the southeast side of Fort Wayne, showing that it can be done. A professional athlete, excelled at the high school level, excelled at the college level, Super Bowl champion, not once, but twice out of the southeast side. And once, as I always use the motto, what are you prepared to do when your ball goes flat? This young man, his ball went flat, and he still continues to push the needle and make a difference in this world and in this community. And with that said, this is Fort Wayne Up Close, ONV, and we out.